The hospital was quieter than usual, the hum of monitors and the occasional call of a nurse the only sounds cutting through the sterile air. Lily lay on the bed, wrapped in a soft blanket, exhaustion marking her pale face. The past few days had drained her, late nights ensuring the company's finances were stabilized, checking documents, coordinating with staff. The fire incident had left her physically and emotionally battered, but she hadn't allowed herself a single pause until now. Outside the room, Ethan paced. He had called repeatedly, checking her status, growing more anxious with every update from the nurses. He hated that he had been absent during the worst of the fire, had not been there to see her fight through smoke and chaos, had only heard about it afterward. And now, seeing her vulnerable, resting after everything, a weight of guilt and urgency pressed on him. He approached Mrs. Grace, whose calm demeanor contrasted sharply with his restless energy. "Mom, please, I need to see her," he said, almost pleading. "I want to go on my own. I should be the one here." Mrs. Grace arched an eyebrow, a tiny glimmer of amusement in her eyes. "So you suddenly care about her well-being? Or is this about your conscience?" she asked lightly, teasing, but he caught the underlying challenge. "I don't care about that. I need to be here. I have to," he said, voice low and urgent. His normally controlled composure had cracked, replaced by a rare, raw sincerity. After a long pause and a subtle, teasing shake of her head, Mrs. Grace finally said, "Go. But don't get lost in your own feelings while you're there." Her resistance was playful, almost ceremonial, yet gave him exactly what he needed. Ethan practically ran to Lily's room, heart hammering, every step a mix of relief and nervous anticipation. Pushing the door open, he froze for a moment at the sight of her, so serene in repose, her exhaustion evident yet softened by the gentle hospital light. "Lily," he whispered, hesitant to startle her. I'm here." She turned, soft curiosity in their gaze. She studied him quietly for a few seconds, taking in his tense posture, the worry etched across his face. "Ethan," she murmured, the word carrying a faint question rather than relief. I had to see you," he said, voice breaking slightly. "After everything, I can't just stay away." "Not now." She offered a faint, cautious smile, understanding dawning slowly. She didn't respond with gratitude yet. This wasn't a time for misplaced thanks, but the recognition was there. Ethan sat beside her bed, hands folded tightly, unsure how to begin. For a while, they simply existed in the same space. The hum of machines, the soft footsteps outside, and the quiet rhythm of hospital life became a backdrop for something unspoken, a tension that had been building quietly but now hovered like a tangible thing. Finally, Lily spoke, her voice quiet but steady. I'm not used to people noticing what I do," she said softly. "Most people just pass by or assume someone else will handle it." "That's fine. I've learned to manage." Ethan listened carefully, sensing layers beneath her calm exterior, her strength built from years of proving herself, but also a heart cautious not to rely on anyone. "I can see it now," he said gently, careful not to overstep. "All the effort, all the care. I don't take it for granted." Her eyes softened slightly, but she kept a measured distance, one that was respectful of herself and cautious of him. "It's not about recognition," she continued. "I don't do this to impress anyone. And I don't want to be anyone's second choice. Not for work, not for friendship, not for anything. I just want things to be real, honest. That's all." Ethan nodded slowly, absorbing her words. He didn't speak immediately, he didn't want to rush, to interrupt the careful honesty she was offering. Instead, he simply reached for her hand, a gentle, grounding gesture. No promises, no declarations, just presence. And in that simple act, something shifted, the beginning of trust, the first quiet step towards something neither of them fully named yet. For the next hour, they talked quietly. Conversations meandered from the absurdities of hospital life, the awful food, the relentless beeping of monitors, the strangely comforting scent of disinfectant, to stories from their past, childhood memories, embarrassing moments, lessons learned the hard way. Every shared laugh, every pause filled with honesty, strengthened a bridge between them. Lily noticed subtle changes in Ethan. His eyes softened when she spoke, his hands relaxed when he reached for hers, the protective but patient way he listened. She didn't misunderstand it as romantic yet, but it was attention, the kind that felt rare, careful, and deliberate. She appreciated it even if she wouldn't admit it aloud. Ethan, in turn, was struck by the complexity of her strength. He remembered the fire, the stolen documents, the quiet courage with which she had managed everything. He realized that her composure, her intelligence, her care, it was not just admirable, it was magnetic. He found himself wanting to protect her, to know her better, to understand her world beyond what he had glimpsed in passing. Meanwhile, Tina's frustration bubbled just out of sight. She noticed Ethan's focus had shifted subtly, how he lingered on updates about Lily, how he laughed at her soft humor, how he seemed genuinely concerned for her well-being. She tried small manipulations, checking his messages, attempting to orchestrate embarrassing moments, trying to reclaim attention, but Ethan's attention was no longer negotiable. Back in the hospital room, intimacy grew quietly. Ethan helped Lily adjust her pillows, handed her water, and teased her gently about insisting on reviewing financial reports even in a hospital bed. Lily laughed softly, allowing herself a rare moment of relaxation. She felt seen, recognized, and cautiously allowed herself to enjoy it without expecting anything more. Hours passed, and shadows lengthened across the room as the sun set. Conversations deepened, touching on fears, dreams, small regrets, and quiet hopes. Ethan spoke with honesty, without pretense, without rushing anything. He shared moments of self-reflection, subtle admissions of guilt, and tentative hopes for change. Lily listened, occasionally interjecting with quiet, insightful observations, challenging him gently, keeping the dynamic balanced. At one point, she looked at him and said softly, "I've spent a long time watching people and being careful who I let in. I've learned that kindness can be fleeting and attention even more so. I need to know that it's real." Ethan's fingers tightened slightly around hers. "It is. I can't promise I'll always get it right, but I want to be here now, fully. No distractions, no pretense, no half measures." A small smile tugged at her lips, fragile but sincere. "Then show me," she said. Not as a test, but as an invitation to demonstrate that he could be genuine, not because he owed her, not because of guilt, but because it mattered to him. The room settled into quiet warmth. Outside, the city buzzed, unaware of the delicate shift occurring inside. Time blurred. Laughter, soft confessions, and tentative trust built a foundation neither had fully expected. The barriers each had carefully maintained over months began to soften, allowing subtle, unspoken emotions to surface. Some hearts wait for recognition, others wait for courage. Ethan had finally chosen clarity, honesty, and presence, and in doing so, had taken the first steps toward the woman who had always deserved his attention.
I gave you pieces of my heart, thinking you would keep them safe. But truth has a way of rising, even through the cracks we fade. You promised we were feelings, but you chose the